Here's a number that should stop you dead in your tracks. Over 70% of SUV buyers who walk out of a dealership dissatisfied made the same mistake. They bought based on the badge, not the build. And right now, in 2026, with fuel prices still unpredictable, dealership markups finally cooling down, and the SUV segment more competitive than it has been in 2 decades, there are exactly 4 Japanese SUVs that stand out from the noise. Not because they're perfect, but because they get the fundamentals so right that the competition looks embarrassing by comparison. We're talking about vehicles where the engineering decisions were made by people who actually understand what it means to drive something every single day. To load it up on a Tuesday morning when it's raining, to merge onto a freeway with a car full of kids, or to take a dirt road that wasn't on the GPS. I've gone deep on the specs, the owner forums, the reliability data, and the real-world feedback from people who've put miles on these machines. And what I found will genuinely change how you look at your 2026 or 2027 SUV purchase. Stay through to the end, because I'm saving the most controversial one for last. And I promise you, it's not the one you're expecting. Number 4. Honda CR-V Hybrid Trail Sport 2026. Let's start with a Honda that finally decided it was tired of being called boring. Because the 2026 CR-V Hybrid Trail Sport is genuinely the most interesting CR-V Honda has ever built. And the fuel economy alone makes it worth your full attention. In real-world driving, Honda's hybrid powertrain on this Trail Sport delivers approximately 35 mpg combined. And while the standard CR-V Hybrid gets around 37 to 40 mpg in city-heavy routes, the Trail Sport sacrifices about 2 mpg thanks to its Continental cross-contact all-terrain tires and slightly elevated curb weight. That still means, with a tank of fuel, you're looking at over 430 miles of range on a single fill-up. Think about how often you stop for gas right now, and then cut that number almost in half. For daily commuters and weekend road trippers alike, that's money back in your pocket every single week. Not some abstract environmental badge to feel good about. Actual dollars saved. Now, let's talk about what's making all that efficiency possible. Because the powertrain in this Trail Sport is genuinely impressive. Under the hood, you have Honda's proven 2.0-liter naturally aspirated Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder, working in harmony with 2 electric motors, one on the front axle and one integrated into the rear, delivering a combined output of approximately 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque. What matters more than those numbers, though, is how the power actually arrives. There's no traditional transmission here. Honda uses a direct-drive electric motor for most of your driving, with the gasoline engine stepping in primarily as a generator or for high-speed highway cruising. And the result is a kind of smooth, wave-like acceleration that feels almost surreal the first time you experience it. When you need to merge, the response is immediate. When you're crawling through traffic, the electric motor handles it silently and effortlessly. The Trail Sport version of the CR-V adds Honda's real-time AWD system with an enhanced torque vectoring map specifically calibrated for the Trail Sport, meaning the rear electric motor can redirect up to 50% of available power to the rear wheels independently of what the front is doing. In practice, this makes a meaningful difference in slippery conditions, wet pavement, loose gravel, light snow, not because this is a hardcore off-road machine, but because the system is genuinely reactive, not the kind of AWD that waits until you're already sliding to respond. Honda is honest about this. The Trail Sport is an adventure-capable family SUV, not a trail-rated rock crawler. And that honesty is actually refreshing in a market full of plastic cladding and fake skid plates. Inside, the CR-V has always been a benchmark for space efficiency relative to its exterior dimensions. And the 2026 Trail Sport continues that tradition, with a rear seat that actually reclines and folds almost completely flat, creating a cargo configuration that genuinely rivals a compact pickup truck bed. With the rear seats down, you're looking at approximately 68 cubic feet of flat, accessible load space. And the rear seat back angle adjustment is something that competitors simply haven't matched. Second row legroom is genuinely adult-friendly. Taller passengers won't be folded up against the front seat back. Cargo behind the rear seat comes in at approximately 33 cubic feet, which beats several mid-size SUVs from just 5 years ago. The Trail Sport adds orange accent stitching, ambient interior lighting, rubber mats with Trail Sport badging, and a 7-inch digital instrument cluster paired with a 9-inch central touchscreen running Honda's latest interface with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto as standard. Honda Sensing, their comprehensive active safety suite, comes standard and includes automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control with low-speed follow, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross-traffic alert. Safety ratings from both NHTSA and IIHS are among the best in its class. Pricing for the Trail Sport lands at approximately $40,950 MSRP, which puts it between the Sport and Sport L AWD trims. And while that number makes some people pause, consider what you're actually getting: a full hybrid system, standard AWD, all-terrain tires, and a Honda reliability record that owners on forums consistently describe as unremarkable, and in the best possible way, meaning nothing breaks, nothing surprises, nothing disappoints. The hybrid components carry an 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Now, where the CR-V Trail Sport takes heat from real owners, the 9-inch infotainment screen, while functional and responsive, gets criticized for not having enough physical shortcut buttons, particularly for climate functions. Some owners report frustration with having to navigate menu layers for basic temperature adjustments. The CVT-like driving character of the hybrid system, while smooth, occasionally feels disconnected to drivers who prefer a more traditional gear-shifting sensation. And a handful of owners in colder climates report that the electric motor range contribution drops noticeably in sub-freezing temperatures, affecting the overall seamless feel of the power delivery. These aren't deal-breakers, they're honest trade-offs. But if physical buttons and a more driver-focused feel matter to you, you need to know this going in. SUV number 3, Subaru Forester, 2026. Now, here's where things get genuinely interesting, because the 2026 Subaru Forester represents something almost radical in the modern SUV market. A company that looked at every focus group, every trend report, every competitor scrambling to add bigger screens and more technology, and said, no. We know exactly who needs this vehicle and exactly what they need from it, and we're going to build that, unapologetically. And the fuel economy story with the Forester tells you a lot about the philosophy. The gasoline version delivers approximately 26 to 33 mpg, depending on how you drive, with the highway end of that range genuinely achievable on a steady interstate cruise. The hybrid version, called the e-Boxer in some markets, improves city efficiency significantly, pushing combined figures to approximately 34 mpg. Neither of these numbers will make headlines the way Toyota's hybrid figures do, but the Forester's powertrain philosophy is built around something different: longevity. The 2.5-liter naturally aspirated Subaru Boxer 4-cylinder, producing approximately 180 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque, is one of the most mechanically simple, time-tested engine configurations in the mainstream SUV market. No turbocharger to blow seals, no direct injection system to clog up with carbon deposits at 80,000 miles, no hybrid battery pack to degrade over a decade. What you have instead is a horizontally opposed engine layout that lowers the center of gravity, reduces vibration compared to inline 4-cylinders, and has been refined over decades to the point where these engines regularly see 200,000 miles with basic maintenance. Power delivery through the CVT, and yes, Subaru uses a CVT, but it's one of the better tuned ones in the business, with notably less of the rubber band sensation that makes other CVTs maddening, is predictable and smooth. 0 to 60 happens in approximately 8.3 seconds, which is honest family hauler territory. This is not an SUV you buy for acceleration. You buy it for the other stuff. The AWD system is where Subaru earns its differentiation in the most practical, meaningful way. Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive is permanent, full-time AWD, not an on-demand system that sends all power to the front until it detects wheel spin and reacts. Power goes to all 4 wheels all the time. In snow, in rain, on wet mountain switchbacks, on loose forest roads, in the parking lot of an ice rink at 6 in the morning, the Forester's traction is consistent and confidence-inspiring in a way that most AWD SUVs simply cannot replicate. Consumer Reports has consistently rated this system among the most capable in the compact SUV class, particularly in deep snow. The Wilderness trim adds a longer wheelbase, raised suspension for an additional half-inch of ground clearance, genuine metal skid plates, and all-terrain tires, plus a towing capacity bump to approximately 3,500 pounds, putting it in serious weekend warrior territory. Standard trims tow approximately 1,500 pounds. Inside, the Forester prioritizes something increasingly rare: visibility. The greenhouse design, with its tall windows and thin A-pillars, gives the driver an outward sightline that modern coupe-styled crossovers have entirely sacrificed. You can see the road. You can see the corners in a tight parking garage. You can see whether there's something in your blind spot before the electronics tell you about it. Cargo capacity behind the rear seats is approximately 35.4 cubic feet, with a flat, square loading floor, not the angled, wheel-well-interrupted cargo area you find in sleeker competitors. With the rear seats folded, total cargo space expands to approximately 76 cubic feet. Second-row legroom is among the best in the compact SUV class, with enough headroom for 6-foot passengers to sit comfortably upright. Technology across the Forester lineup is deliberate rather than flashy. An 11.6-inch vertical touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, a wireless charging pad, and Harman Kardon audio in upper trims that sounds genuinely premium. Subaru's EyeSight Safety Suite comes standard on every single Forester. Automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, sway warning, and EyeSight's performance in challenging conditions like rain, fog, and low light has been specifically recognized in safety evaluations as more reliable than competing systems. Pricing runs from approximately $33,000 for the base model to $43,500 for a fully loaded Wilderness, and critically, every Forester, even the base model, comes with standard AWD, standard EyeSight, and meaningful ground clearance. There are no trim-level compromises hiding the features that make this vehicle what it is. Warranty coverage is 3 years, 36,000 miles basic, and 5 years, 60,000 miles powertrain. Now for the honest part. Subaru's reliability reputation is real, but it comes with a specific caveat. The Boxer engines have a known long-term sensitivity to head gasket maintenance, particularly in high-mileage examples with inconsistent coolant service. This is less of a concern on newer models with improved head gasket materials, but if you buy used, it's the first thing any Subaru specialized mechanic will check. The CVT also draws consistent complaints from drivers who prefer a more engaging, direct driving feel. The Forester was never designed to be fun to drive, and it makes no apology for that. Some owners also note that while the materials inside are durable and practical, they stop well short of the perceived luxury quality you'll find in the Mazda CX-5 or the Hyundai Tucson. The Forester is built to survive, not to impress. SUV 2, Mazda CX-5 2026. If you've ever sat in a Mazda CX-5 and had to double-check the badge on the steering wheel because the interior quality felt like something that should cost $15,000 more, you're not alone. And the 2026 CX-5 takes that experience further than any previous generation. But before we talk about what you see and feel, let's talk about what matters most to your wallet over the long term: fuel economy. The 2026 CX-5, with its 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder and 24-volt mild hybrid assistance, returns approximately 27 mpg city and 34 mpg highway, with combined figures landing around 31 to 32 mpg in real-world mixed driving. The mild hybrid system isn't a marketing gimmick here. It genuinely smooths out the start-stop transitions that make stop-and-go traffic feel like a constant series of micro-jolts. And it contributes meaningfully to full efficiency at low speeds, without adding the complexity or the cost of a full hybrid system. If you spec an upper trim with the available 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, fuel economy drops to approximately 24 mpg combined. But you gain substantially in driving engagement. More on that in a moment. For most buyers sticking with the base powertrain, the efficiency numbers are solid and consistent across climates and driving styles. The engine itself is where Mazda made a choice that sets the CX-5 apart from most of its competition at this price point. The 2.5-liter, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder produces approximately 187 horsepower and 175 pound-feet of torque, paired with a genuine 6-speed automatic transmission, not a CVT. This matters in ways that raw horsepower numbers don't communicate. The 6-speed gives you real, perceptible gear changes that make the driving experience feel connected and deliberate. Mazda's Skyactiv G engine philosophy prioritizes high compression ratios and efficient combustion geometry, which means this engine doesn't just perform on paper. It pulls cleanly through the rev range, responds immediately to throttle inputs, and doesn't produce the flat, elastic feeling that makes CVT-equipped competitors feel like appliances. The optional 2.5-liter turbo pushes output to approximately 227 horsepower on premium fuel, which transforms the CX-5 from a refined commuter into something that genuinely embarrasses more powerful on-paper rivals in real-world highway situations. The iActive AWD system on the CX-5 is one of the most thoughtfully engineered all-wheel drive systems in the compact SUV class. Using a 27-sensor predictive logic system, it doesn't just react to wheel spin, it anticipates it, monitoring wiper usage, throttle position, steering angle, accelerator behavior, and dozens of other inputs to preemptively distribute torque before you've lost traction. In practice, the CX-5 in slippery conditions feels more secure and communicative than the numbers or the segment positioning would suggest. It's a system designed by engineers who understand that the best AWD is the one you never notice because it's always already prepared. Inside, the 2026 CX-5 brings a 15.6-inch floating touchscreen in upper trims, one of the largest in the class, running Google Automotive, which means built-in Google Maps, Google Assistant, and YouTube Music as native applications, alongside wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Lower trims start with a 12.9-inch display. The center console layout now uses touchscreen controls for climate, which is the controversial change that has generated the most owner debate. Mazda eliminated the physical dial controller that previous generations used, and some longtime CX-5 owners feel this is a step backward for eyes-on-road usability. The traditional gear shifter, however, remains physical, and Mazda retained physical steering wheel controls with genuine tactile feedback. Interior materials across every trim are genuinely impressive: soft touch surfaces where your hands rest, real stitching on the dash and door panels, a steering wheel that feels like it belongs in something twice the price. The 2026 redesign stretched the body to 184.6 inches in length, which translates directly to rear seat legroom improvements. Second-row passengers now have genuine adult comfort, rather than the squeeze-in feel of earlier CX-5 generations. Rear passengers also gain dedicated USB-C charging ports and their own climate vents, addressing a common complaint from previous owners. Cargo capacity behind the rear seats is approximately 20.6 cubic feet with all seats up, modest by class standards. But the rear seats fold to reveal approximately 71.2 cubic feet total, with doors that open nearly 90 degrees to make loading in tight parking spots dramatically easier. Safety technology is comprehensive. Automatic emergency braking, 360-degree sensors, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and adaptive headlights come standard. Consumer Reports has consistently rated the CX-5 among the most reliable compact SUVs available, with particularly strong scores for its engine and transmission. Pricing lands between approximately $30,000 and $40,000 depending on trim and market, backed by a 5-year or 62,000-mile warranty. Towing capacity is approximately 2,205 pounds, plenty for a small boat, jet ski, or teardrop camper. Now, the honest conversation. The decision to move climate controls to the touchscreen will cost some buyers their ability to adjust temperature without looking away from the road. And in a brand that built its reputation on driver-focused design, this feels philosophically inconsistent. Some owners also report that the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated engine, while refined, can feel underwhelmed when the CX-5 is fully loaded with passengers and cargo on a steep highway grade. And fuel economy with the turbocharged engine on premium fuel, the grades it actually runs best on, adds up over time in a way the EPA ratings don't fully capture. These are real trade-offs, and they belong in any honest conversation about this car. SUV number 1, Toyota RAV4 Hybrid 2026. And now, we arrive at the SUV that Toyota didn't need to reinvent, but did anyway. And the decision they made is either the most forward-thinking move in the mainstream SUV segment, or the most polarizing gamble a volume manufacturer has made in years. For 2026, Toyota has eliminated the gasoline-only RAV4 entirely. Every single RAV4 is now either a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. No base four-cylinder, no compromise entry point. If you want a RAV4, you're getting a hybrid. And that decision has cascading effects on every single conversation about this vehicle. Starting with the fuel economy numbers, which are genuinely extraordinary for what the RAV4 is and does. The standard hybrid RAV4 with front-wheel drive returns roughly 41 to 45 mpg combined in real-world mixed driving. The AWD hybrid, which uses a separate rear electric motor rather than a traditional mechanical rear differential, returns approximately 38 to 40 mpg combined. These are numbers that force a rethinking of what's possible in a mainstream midsize SUV, and they translate to real-world savings that over a 5-year ownership period represent thousands of dollars compared to gasoline-only competitors. The plug-in hybrid RAV4, which can run on pure electricity for approximately 42 miles before the gasoline engine activates, is a different kind of value proposition. For buyers whose daily round trip is 40 miles or less, the plug-in can go days or even weeks between gasoline fill-ups. For longer trips, the gas engine takes over seamlessly, delivering approximately 36 to 38 mpg combined in hybrid mode. The standard hybrid powertrain combines a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder with electric motors for a combined output of approximately 219 horsepower in front-wheel drive and 227 horsepower in all-wheel drive. The plug-in hybrid pushes that to approximately 302 horsepower, enabling a 0 to 60 time of approximately 5.8 seconds, which is sports car territory in a family SUV. Toyota's hybrid system is not new technology being beta tested on paying customers. It is mature, proven, refined over decades and millions of vehicles, with failure rates that consistently rank among the lowest in the industry. The 8-year, 100,000-mile hybrid system warranty and the 10-year, 150,000-mile battery warranty communicate something specific. Toyota is saying this technology will outlive your loan. The AWD system on the RAV4 hybrid is worth a dedicated explanation because it works fundamentally differently from conventional AWD. There is no physical drive shaft connecting the front and rear axles. Instead, a dedicated electric motor powers the rear wheels completely independently. This means the system can shift torque between front and rear instantaneously, faster than any mechanical system can respond, and it can do so predictively rather than reactively. In Consumer Reports testing, the RAV4 hybrid's performance in snow and unpaved conditions was rated as more confident than virtually all compact SUV competitors. For AWD buyers who actually need AWD to work when conditions are worst, this architecture is the most capable in its class. Towing capacity for AWD and plug-in models reaches approximately 3,500 pounds, enough for a jet ski, a compact camper, or a trailer full of weekend gear. FWD hybrids drop to approximately 1,150 pounds, so if towing matters to you, AWD is the configuration to choose. Inside, the 2026 RAV4 moves to a cleaner, more digital aesthetic centered on a 12.3-inch touchscreen running Toyota's new Irani operating system, with over-the-air updates and a natural voice assistant. Wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto come standard. Upper trims add an 800-watt JBL sound system that owners consistently describe as genuinely excellent. Physical controls have been significantly reduced in the 2026 redesign, with air conditioning functions migrating to the touchscreen, a decision that mirrors Mazda's controversial choice and draws similar criticism from buyers who prefer tactile, eyes-forward climate control. The flip side, freed up center console space through the new shift-by-wire system creates genuinely improved storage and a more open, airy cabin feel. Second-row legroom is generous, but marginally less than what the Honda CR-V offers, and cargo behind the rear seats comes in at approximately 37.5 cubic feet, competitive and well-shaped. Toyota Safety Sense 4.0 comes standard across the entire RAV4 lineup, with automatic emergency braking, cross-traffic alert, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and driver attention monitoring. Consumer Reports has rated the RAV4 hybrid above 80 points for reliability. Yes, their practical seal of approval, and the RAV4 hybrid powertrain specifically earned some of the strongest owner satisfaction scores in the entire automotive industry. Pricing starts at approximately $32,000 for the base hybrid, climbing to approximately $45,000 for the plug-in GR Sport Edition. In Latin American markets, hybrid versions imported from Japan and Canada are expected from mid-2026. US buyers will likely see availability sooner. Now, for the balanced truth. The decision to eliminate non-hybrid powertrains has pushed the RAV4's base price meaningfully higher than previous generations, and meaningfully higher than some competitors who still offer non-hybrid entry points. For budget-focused buyers, this is not a small consideration. The reduction of physical controls also draws legitimate criticism, and early reports suggest the Arene operating system has a learning curve that some buyers find frustrating in the first weeks of ownership. The RAV4's exterior styling, while refined for 2026, remains evolutionary rather than dramatic. Buyers seeking a head-turning design statement may find more visual excitement elsewhere. And here's the thing about the GR Sport plug-in hybrid, with 302 horsepower and a 5.8-second 0 to 60. Toyota is walking a very specific line with this vehicle. And whether they've struck the right balance between performance, efficiency, and the price point that made the RAV4 America's best-selling SUV for years, well, that's a conversation that's just getting started. So there you have it. 4 Japanese SUVs that each solve a different version of the same problem. How do you build a vehicle that earns its price tag every single day for the next decade? The CR-V Trail Sport answers with efficiency and practicality. The Forester answers with honesty and durability. The CX-5 answers with refinement and driving pleasure. And the RAV4 Hybrid answers with a bet that the future of family transportation is already here, whether the market is ready for it or not. But here's what I didn't tell you. One of these 4 vehicles has a specific feature that Consumer Reports specifically flag as both its single greatest advantage and its single greatest potential long-term liability. And it's not the one you're thinking. In the next video, I'm going deep on what the long-term ownership data actually looks like for these 4 vehicles past the 100,000-mile mark. And the results are going to seriously surprise you. Drop a comment right now telling me which of these 4 is on your shortlist and why. And if you're in the market right now, tell me what's actually holding you back from pulling the trigger. I read every single one. The reduction of physical controls also draws legitimate criticism, and early reports suggest the Arene operating system has a learning curve that some buyers find frustrating in the first weeks of ownership. The RAV4's exterior styling, while refined for 2026, remains evolutionary rather than dramatic. Buyers seeking a head-turning design statement may find more visual excitement elsewhere. And here's the thing about the GR Sport plug-in hybrid with 302 horsepower and a 5.8-second 0 to 60. Toyota is walking a very specific line with this vehicle. And whether they struck the right balance between performance, efficiency, and the price point that made the RAV4 America's best-selling SUV for years, well, that's a conversation that's just getting started.